to do to you, anyone. I get this off my chest, channel it, something stepping on my toe. How do you say it? Oh, okay. And then I got confirmation. These men, I live in an area where there's just so many lakes, hundreds and hundreds of lakes, and I'm very close to the largest alligator-infested lake in Florida, which is Lake George. So you see a lot of men with boats, and they all claim they're fishing. They're fishing. What I really believe is they're effeminizing themselves, and this is a power grab, and of the feminine energy, the goddess energy. Okay, for a couple of reasons. Not only do they claim it's so whimsical to kill fish, which have been a symbol of prosperity, and they're also a symbol of children finishing school uninterrupted. Okay, but beyond that, this whole the running away, the chase me of a man going onto a feminized water. It's let me be. We know that. Oh, and look how soothing, and look how attractive. Look how I get more from it. But okay, you get a lot. You got your big trucks, you got your big boats, but you don't really appreciate or give anything back. You're just effeminized. You've just harvested feminine energy while simultaneously, it looks like you want to act masculine because you've dominated the feminine energy, but you've only, quote, dominated by effeminizing yourself. Stealing, taking resources, running, expecting women to say, okay, where's he going? What's he doing? That should never have been in a woman's lips, ever. And if women did the same thing, if they just got in their merry boat and they just went on their merry lake, not the one that's so infested with alligators, but if they did the exact same thing, they would get their feminine power back. Period. If they just said, you know what, I'm not buying a car, I'm getting a paddle boat. I'm just getting a boat, I'm going and I'm laying by water, and I'm going to feed fish. I'm going to take care of fish by a river, right? And I'm just going to hang out with my lady friends. Bam, game changer. The whole shift would happen. I didn't say the other word. The whole shift would happen. Instead of this, get off my toe. I don't have an obligation. Man has an obligation to me. Stop stealing my feminine resources. Propping yourself up with your, need to look masculine energy whenever you feel like it, I guess. But you have only harvested the feminine response, the feminine power, and given not very little back. There would be no high rents if they were giving back. If they didn't just become so intimidated by the feminine power when they went out to these usually spring-fed lakes. Like, don't let them know, because they get so envious, about the feminine power in the lakes, and the waters is a feminine energy. They get so envious, yet they benefit so much from that feminine power. They even feel like a little serenity. They're going to say a prayer and God's happy and send some more resources. But because of because there's so much and it's so powerful, they feel like they don't have to do anything, give anything back. And because the women have unfeminized themselves, unfortunately, because of this paradigm, it's kind of like you had to grow an ego to deal with the gap, while man just said, I know the power she doesn't want to harness, and I'm going to go harvest it right here. I'm going to look like I'm out here catching a fish, but you don't catch hardly any fish. You're saying you're away, you're saying that you can't be bothered. You're not checking on her. But somehow, what happens? Ends up with a bunch of money. Okay, why? Because he knows that power is the one that's going to get the money. While women are making themselves unattractive, doing these masculine jobs, they're not handing back, they're not feeding through back to their homes where they really get their feminine power. They're not giving it back to barely making it. The rent's sky high and the highest housing crisis, Jesus Christ, and the taxes. People who care for stuff don't even have rights as much as these powers that just say, well, I told you I was masculine. I could pollute this river anytime. That's what they end up calling masculine. I can pollute this. See, we as long as we don't ever have to see her power. And then they're like, why do you seem like so detached? It stabs you in the heart. Like, come on now. And you try to, if you even think that you're going to get through to them. Well, what are you talking about? That's just the way it is. We can't. Women have chose to go out and compete. Strip away their feminine essence, or strip away that power that attracts wealth. They've chased us because they had to grow that ego that dealt with that feminized man that went and didn't do his protection, and step into his masculine power. Women went and stepped into their masculine power, and okay, when men steps into the feminine, I don't like it. And that's not like they go and say, a lot of times they do. I want to be a woman. I want to be a man now. No, they act like they're men, but they're not men. Men don't act that way. Men protect. They don't harvest resources off the backs of the prayers of the people that are taking birth, because they're the powers. But they sit there and go feminize themselves with their every action. What? What? It's just, get off my toe. I'm not going to grow an ego for your crap to put it together. I'm going to go and I'm going to salvage and claim my feminine, because it belongs to me. It's my birthright. And I might have to elbow a few men out the way, getting a good feed so they can put this energy around them to track money. That's all they're doing. They're putting it around them. They don't have it in them. They really want to and get mad that I didn't say they could become a woman. But they don't have it like me. They don't have the birthright like me. It will beat its way out of their closet. And it's beating right now. And stop giving these effeminized men who then want to say they're men because they're brute, called men. They're not. Ugh. They're feminized men who want me to go make up the deficit by coming masculine. Bitch, no. I know my power, and I wish I found a man that knew his. Because then we don't have to worry about deficits. We don't have to worry about it ever. And so what if we don't have this or that? If we have enough and God's our leader, and because God makes sure every step, we have to make sure that we're on the same step with God. And if you're too many steps ahead, you're not following God as the leader. You're thinking that you're the only leader. But that idea of the feminine energy of just knowing to attract wealth, men know that. Do women know that? Do men around you, do men around me expect me to grow an ego to fulfill, to make up the deficit? Ask myself, how many do it? How many do it? Honestly. And they're not your man. They're not the real Slim Shady. They're not the real man. They're not doing the real work. They won't sit down. Let them sit down. Let him be effeminized. If you hyper ego yourself into a masculine role, it will never work. It is not natural. He will look like a woman and gentle and like he fell back in her feminine energy. He will not have the backbone that a man really needs to stand up for the future of this world, for to stand up against these banksters moving in all the time. Oh, it's just normal, guys. This is the normal. We didn't fight wars to get at this so-called normal out because we know it was pestilence and unsanitary for sanity. Oh, but he'll remain effeminized using her resources as long as she, resurrects that ego to put herself in his place. And just believe that these masculine men, so-called masculine, will put me down. They'll go, see, I'm masculine. See how I put her down? But you're never masculine to give back the feminine energy that you need to attract wealth. You're never masculine enough to give back to her birthright. Never that masculine. Because that would take real courage and belief in God.